SideScrollers is brought to you by you. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/SideScrollers. It's time for SideScrollers on YouTube.com with me, Stuttering Craig. I like movies that have sand in them. Wow.
He doesn't like it in his mouth.
And producer extraordinaire, Travis Key.
I don't like the texture in my mouth.
What? And brought to you by you, the G2 community at patreon.com/SideScrollers. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for SideScrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, welcome on out to SideScrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and Twitch.tv. What's going on, everybody? Hi, Stuttering Craig. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you had a great weekend full of hot heat down here in Texas and hurricanes and weather and tornadoes and all sorts of stuff in California and wildfires in Hawaii. And all right, let's go. Hey, man, we're going to have a great week. Welcome on out. It's going to be a good one. Lots to share, lots to talk about today, including major Nintendo news coming down from, I don't know, the horse's mouth, I suppose. It's very, very intriguing. A major video game, or a major movie is a quarter century old. At least it's a major movie to me. We're going to talk about that. We have, and oh man, this is insane. Netflix claiming other YouTubers' content as their own, which, God, this is amazing. And I got some stuff I want to talk to you guys about that really kind of hit me over the weekend. So, look, we got a lot going on. First, let's introduce Travis Keys. Hello, Travis. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, that weather shit is kind of crazy, isn't it? At least it's going to be bad for California, but at least they're going to fill them reservoirs that they had a problem filling.
That's always been an issue with California is water. They've always So.
But the bad thing is when you're there, it just like sits in the street. Like even through Palm Springs where I was living, they had I believe it's the LA River thing that it's like this big thing that runs through town for all the water to go to, but they don't have drainage systems there to get it into the thing. So it's just like sitting in the street. And when I moved there, it was weird because everywhere I've ever lived, there's those sewer things, the drainage pipes, but they don't have them there. So
well, that's why they shot Terminator 2. The Terminator 2 with a big old chase scene there.
Yeah. That's the exact same thing. Yeah.
Also joining us, as always, it's Blabs. Hi, Blabs.
Hi. Craig started the show with like death and destruction, but I'm here to make it a little bit more positive. He's like, everything sucks. It's hot and there's lots of weather.
Yes, absolutely. It's hot. It's hotter than hell, and I can't take it anymore.
God dang it! Do you say like dang slab it and all those things that?
Did you say what?
Dang slab it, I think it is. Is that it?
Dag nabbit? Dag nabbit?
Yeah, that one. That's it. Do you ever say it?
Dag nabbit?
Yeah.
Dag nabbit, I'm not 85 years old.
Yeah, I think I've never said that in my life. But
well.
Damn.
Look, what's the humidity percentage where you are, Craig?
The humidity percentage, probably 0.
Wow.
And it's like 115 degrees outside. Yesterday, I was telling Blabs, my daughter played in a soccer tournament this weekend, and it was legitimately 110 degrees yesterday.
Wow.
And it was, they had water breaks and stuff during the game, but it was one of those where you're like, God, like,
I hope the kids wore their sunscreen.
Are we doing this right? Like, seriously, and like, so all the girls today, they're all exhausted, next day. And it's crazy, man. Like,
that could be a business thing, making like tents to go over soccer fields and stuff.
Yeah, they have tents for parents, but not necessarily for soccer fields.
Well, I mean, for the field itself.
Some big ass tents, man. Some big ass tents. Those
well, they have them blow up like arena things now. My hometown, instead of building a new course or whatever, they just has this blow up like air filled thing. Now it was
Travis gonna go put tents over soccer fields.
It was still
it's
15.
His new production company.
This is the crazy thing. The blow up thing was still $15 million.
Right.
I find that part humorous because they probably could have built the building for $15 million.
Of course.
But, hey.
Of course. Well, look, Galaxy Red says, what the heck is dang slab it? Blabs.
I don't know. Isn't that a thing people say?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's awesome.
I don't know anymore. It's Monday.
Well, look, we got a lot going on, man. Like I said, major news coming down today from Nintendo. Obviously, if you guys are watching over on Rumble, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button and hit the follow button as well. You can follow us over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. And of course, hit the thumbs up. And the thumbs up goal is always 300. If you guys can do that, that'd be great. It's a great way to help the show and all that fun stuff. Of course, you can follow us over on Twitter at twitter.com/ or I guess it's x.com/ SideScrollerPod. And we have an Instagram, isn't that right, Blabs?
We do. And hang on, I'm putting it up. We passed over 400. We're at 420 right now. Great number. Look at that.
Let's
So,
go.
If you haven't followed us yet, do so. We
So
post memes. It's a great place. All the memes are there.
Dang Slabbit is a pissed off rabbit.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just.
Okay.
Oh.
Just
I was
Say, how do you know a rabbit's pissed off? Does he be like, like Bugs Bunny or something?
yeah, they'll chase you.
Have you been chased by a rabbit?
Have I?
Yeah.
No, I've shot at rabbits with BB
Oh.
guns,
Same.
but yeah. They're varmints. Varmints.
He was getting
Pest.
into food. I had to do something. Actually,
Right.
no, it was a squirrel. Never mind. I don't think I ever shot a rabbit.
Hey, give it up for Boss Hog, who came in as a member and gifted 5 memberships before we even started the stream today. Let's go, Boss Hog. Thank you very much.
Wait.
Greatly appreciate that. That is excellent. And Cryptic 970 with the $10 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Cryptic. Says x.com. There's a porn innuendo somewhere. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean,
Elon was like,
So, does anybody else have Comcast?
no.
what is that?
So, it's Xfinity. It's the internet around here. We don't have Time Warner that they have in the West Coast, and I don't know what they have in the East Coast. But so it's called Xfinity, right? Because Comcast purchased Xfinity or something like that a long time ago, one or the other. But their app logo is just an X. So all the time I go to try and get on Twitter, I open the goddamn Xfinity app. There's got to be some trademark shit going on there, It's
The
just
X?
Yeah, it's just all it is an X. It's the exact same thing that the Twitter app little thing is. It's just a different color.
I'm with you, man. But at the same time, I feel like Elon Musk can make it all go away in a snap of a fingers. So
like
yeah.
Thanos.
Well, what he'll say is the shape of the X is different. And look, our X has a little empty spot in the middle.
Of course.
You know what I
I
mean?
missed the bird. I'm just saying it.
you do. You miss
yeah.
the bird?
It's
I missed the
more
bird.
distinct.
Bird is the word.
Well, go follow us over on X. Another place you can go follow us is over on the SideScrollers Plays channel at youtube.com/SideScrollersPlays, where I'll be live after today's stream with today's news from Nintendo. I think I may go back and actually, for the first time, something I didn't do during the Mario Funathon, I thought may actually be a good opportunity to go in and try the lost levels on the Super Nintendo. So we'll give that a go. I think I may give that a try.
Is the lost
today.
levels actually like the Super Mario 2 they released in Japan? Is that what that is?
Yes. Yeah, that's the story behind it. So I beat it once on the regular Nintendo, but Lost Levels apparently is a little different. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. Henry came in, listen to this, with a $50 direct donation. Henry Davis says, happy Monday, all. Let's go, Henry. Thank you so much. There's only one thing Blabs has to say about that.
Balls. Balls, 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 balls.
All right. Hey, thanks.
I
I greatly appreciate
I thought you
it.
were choking to death for a minute. I'm like, are you okay?
I got a hairball.
Love that.
Hairballs.
Awesome.
Got
So head over and follow us over on the SideScrollers Plays channel. That's where the fun continues after the show. So, yeah, once again, Henry, thank you very much. That is incredibly generous and greatly appreciated. We are 6 months in to this SideScrollers thing, which has been great. It's been a fun go of it. I've been doing a tough look analytically at what's worked, what's not, and we'll dig into that here sometime this week. I think I'd like to kind of dig into that and talk about what we're going to be doing moving ahead. some of the shows we're going to be doing, as well as how the Side Scrollers idea. I don't even want to call it a brand. The idea of Side Scrollers is going to continue to morph. So maybe we'll do that sometime later this week. We haven't told everybody, and Blabs, I don't even know if you want to tell people about your trip coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm going away, guys. So I won't be here starting the 3rd, or actually the 4th, because there's a Monday. So I'll be away until the 21st of September. So from the 4th of September to 21st, I shall be vacationing off in the world of Australia. So wish me luck. I hope I don't die from rattlesnakes. Yay!
She's gonna chase the white rabbit down.
I mean a kangaroo, bro. I'm gonna send you guys a selfie.
Love it. So Blabs is gonna be gone for like 2 weeks in the middle of next month, right in the heart. So I'm gonna do my best to get some good co-hosts in here, some guest hosts in. I'm gonna see for the week, just a week at a time, see if we can do that. I think that'd be really fun. And we'll kind of see how that goes. So otherwise, it'll just me and Travis staring at each other. Be great. So yes, Travis.
You're muted.
Travis has muted himself.
Blabs. There's something you should look up while you're there. Go see an animal you should see while you're there. It's a capybara. It's like a big.
They're cool.
Yeah, you should go see that instead.
Well, I'm going to the zoo. So.
Because you can actually interact more with them. They're very sweet. Whereas you can interact with kangaroos, but they might
punch your face out too.
They might like get mad at you. So,
hey, Trav, I'm staring at you now, and this just came to me really quick. As somebody mentioned that Blabs look really, really big compared to you and I. I'm gonna need to teach you about a little bit of headroom. I have too much headroom as well. Hold on. We're gonna need you to tilt your camera down just a little bit here. You got the rule of thirds, my friend.
Well, you know, it's funny. I didn't even do this. When I changed browser, it just zoomed in, and now I can't unzoom it, and I don't know why, because it's only on Edge that's doing it, not OBS or anything else. So now it's just hello world.
Well, we're glad to be hanging out with you guys today.
I kind of look like an Oompa Loompa, right? Maybe I can get cast in that new movie.
That's the spirit. Take Hugh Grant's job. Be like, nah.
Let's go.
You can't be the only orange person here. I can do it too.
Unafraid Zio came in as a member for 18 months over on the Twitches. It says, wow, 18 months. I'm legal for this chat now. Hey, Zio, congratulations. Way to go. You can now vote. Which, quick side note, did you hear the idea of one of the presidential candidates, which, I don't want to get into all that stuff, but one of the presidential candidates suggested the idea of upping the age for the voting age to 25?
Well, then I think we should up the voting age for military service to 25, if that's the case. So, I don't think you should have military service before you can drink and vote. It should all be the same.
Let me take a step back really quick. He said, if you don't, and this is what he said, if you don't serve in the military, if you don't have some sort of country commitment, then the voting.
Yeah, but what is country commitment? Because you could serve your country in another way.
Yeah, and he talks about that, like being a first responder,
right? A fireman, a police officer, like.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
Coast Guard, whatever.
It's interesting. Anyways, just a fun little thought I saw. Dude came in with the $1 Rumble rant. Says you should bring on Melanie as Blab substitute just to stick it to the haters. I don't want to stick it to anybody. I have no interest in sticking it to anybody. But I do like Melanie Mac.
Oh, he likes me too, guys.
Yeah, I like you too, Blabs. You're good. You're good. So, and I'm sure just me saying that will be but whatever. I don't even care. Anyways, yeah. Look, we got a lot to talk about today, so let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for.
This is hard news.
All righty. So this came down earlier today. Major news from the world of Nintendo, which was like kind of out of nowhere. At the same time, people have kind of been talking about it, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. But Nintendo came out and said they dropped this message off for everybody about 9 a.m. Central Time, said we have a message for fans of the Mushroom Kingdom. Please take a look. Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world, sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with y'all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. So it's obviously
sad.
Big deal, big news. So question for the chat, and this is going to be kind of an open question for everybody, so feel free to fire away. But what is your favorite, I don't know, Charles Martinet line from a Mario game?
Also, I have a question for you guys.
Mhm.
Do you think Chris Pratt will now replace him?
Okay, we're going to get into that. Because following this, Martinet followed up with a retweet or whatever they're called now, saying, "My new adventure begins. You are all number one in my heart." Woohoo! Right. And I maybe, Blabs, can you try your best Mario voice really quick?
Woohoo!
Waha!
Oh,
Yeah.
that was interesting.
There you go. Yeah. Crab says, "Say so long, gay Bowser." Do you know anything about that, Blabs?
No, Bowser's gay?
No.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, how do you know this?
No. That was the thing from Mario 64. Back
You
in
mean
the
Happy
day.
Bowser?
People thought that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Was so long, gay Bowser. So
What was he actually saying?
well, he was. I don't even know what he was actually saying. I really don't know. But if you listen to this, this is actually during a fight with Mario 64. Here we go. Listen to this.
It's so long, King Bowser. King of Bowser. King.
So long, gay Bowser.
I hear both. You can hear Gay Bowser and King Bowser.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's actually King with an A at the end because it's supposed to sound Italian or whatever. I don't know.
I also have a question from that paragraph. Mario Ambassador.
Yeah.
Oh, brand new role. What does that entail?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that probably means going to events like E3 or whatever events it is, or appearing on podcast and talking about the new Mario game or whatever it may be.
Spokesperson, basically.
Right. I think that's exactly what it is. So, I mean, good for him. And I think they did this the right way, and let me tell you why they did it the right way. They're giving people the opportunity to talk and praise him. If they had done this on a Friday night, news goes to die on Friday afternoons, right? Like the news cycle is pretty much done. YouTubers are done doing their YouTube thing. And but Monday morning gives everybody the opportunity to praise him the right way. So I actually think this is the right way for Nintendo to do it. They said, "Hey, look, he's been awesome. We're going to continue to pay him for this ambassador role. He's made a giant legacy for what Mario is." And then he followed immediately up and he's like, "Yahoo, I'm a happy, yaha," does the whole thing. And
Classy.
whether he has or not, right?
They let him address it too. They didn't spring it on him like some companies do and just, "You're fired." You know what I mean? It's like they worked
Well,
with
I mean, if
him.
they did that, I think Nintendo fans would be like,
Well, a lot of companies do that.
yeah, but this is Nintendo, right?
And this is
you
Mario.
expect that from Disney. I don't really think you'd expect that from Nintendo, especially.
Well, and I'm
Mario.
just saying it's to their credit. You know what I mean?
So there's been, yeah, right. So, and once again, this is not a video game character. This is the video game character. Like Mario is the face of video games in the story, right? I think we can all agree on that. It's not Chun-Li, it's not Ryu, it's not Master Chief. Pick any. You can put Mario in front of anybody, and they'll be like, "Yeah, it's Mario." You can't do that with other video game characters. So they had to do this the right way, and they have. Now, this is coming after about a month ago, they released the trailer for the upcoming Mario game, Mario Wonder, right? And there was actually some talk percolating about this then. And I found this video of this guy named Valskibum, and he has 1 million subscribers, but he was talking about was Mario's voice actor just replaced? And he did this entire video pretty much talking about like, yeah, y'all a bunch of idiots, you know, more or less. Like, come on, what are you talking about? This guy's a voice actor. It's great stuff. And sure enough, he's been replaced. Because what happened was in the Mario Wonder trailer, there's Mario voices, and people were like, well, that doesn't sound like Mario, like Charles Martinet. So I pulled up the clips from his video to the little compilation that he put together, just to kind of see the difference. I think it's the Wowie Zowie at the end that kind of did it for most people. People heard that, they go Wowie Zowie, and like that doesn't sound like Charles Martinet.
Slow it down to 70.75 speed and play it back, just because it's so fast.
Sure. You just want to sound like you're high, so make it sound like you're high.
No. I'm doing this for a reason.
No. Here we go. Let's do it like it's high, like you're high. Here. Sorry, I realized that was this cringe immediately.
That is not what I wanted. I just wanted to hear it more clearly.
Here we go.
Honestly, I think
so. So yeah, it's pretty funny, and I think that's one thing that was pointed out today. I think it was RGT pointed it out on Twitter. He's like, listen, it's not like this guy has been. It's not like he's Solid Snake, like doing entire diatribes about whatever. He's mostly going like woohoo and yaha and making.
So many people can do that now,
right? And I mean, so many people could do it back then as well, but at the same time, this guy's personality has transcended into the game, and they're kind of one of the same, you know.
Well,
yes, Trav.
I was just thinking, it's one of them things. What's the reason behind it? Because if it's just to do it, like, is he asking for too much money? Do they want to save money, or like he just is getting too old? Like, did he want to retire? Because I don't see a reason to do it if there's no reason for it. You see what I'm saying? Like, unless he's asking for an outrageous amount of money because he's known as Mario, then what's the reasoning?
Right. And let me tell you, and let me show you why the reason is why this needs to be done right now. That's why. Because he's like 70 years old, and he's gonna this transition is gonna have to happen eventually. And you'd rather this transition happen while he's alive, while he hasn't taken a slip, you know, in his ability, while he can still say, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
And while there's primarily a new Mario game coming out, a new mainline Mario game coming out.
It's a good PR move for sure.
Yeah, I would just hope they discussed it with him ahead of time, because they could have gave him an out. They could have said, hey, we're going to give you 2 more years, 3 more years, let you know ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? Just so he can prepare and all that. And also, they have so much pre-recorded stuff of his voice. They could have just kept using the same stuff and still kept him as the guy and paid him rights for using his voice.
Sure, they could have, but I'd say, of course, they gave him enough time. Of course, they gave him the option for this. 100%.
And I'm just asking the question. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, of course they did. 100%.
Yeah, if they didn't, you'd know it, because he'd probably say something.
We absolutely would have already known for sure. But this was an interesting response from Pimp Master Brother over on
your code name?
Twitter. Yeah, it's my shadow account over on
your burner.
My burner, yes. He says this is in response to the message. He just says, "Good. It's time to make Chris Pratt the new permanent voice of Mario. Just have him talk with his normal voice and call him Normal Mario. This is a new area, the normal Mario area. There's no goofy wahoo noises. Grow up, Nintendo toddlers, and accept him."
I don't like that last bit. I feel like that's really insulting. It's just like people are just sad that, you know, part of the era is ending, and he's like, Nintendo dollars. I mean, grown ass men are kind of like, oh man, like that hurts a little bit in the feelings, right? But I've never seen the Mario movie still, so I can't comment on how good Chris Pratt is.
Yeah, me too. So
he speaks in his normal voice, right? I mean, I'd say not his normal voice, but it's, you know, it's primarily his normal voice, like 80% of his normal voice, right? But they address in the Mario movie, Martinet has a cameo in it,
Mhm.
and during that sequence, they talk about the movie opens up with a commercial for the Super Mario Brothers plumbers, right? And they're like, they're doing it. It's a me, a Mario, and they're really flamboyant over the top, and they kind of address that about how silly and stupid it sounds, at the beginning, and that's where Martinet's cameo pops in. I thought they handled it like really well. I don't know. I mean, the thing about Pimp Master Brudda over here and his tweet is that's fine if you want to take it that direction, but Nintendo clearly didn't take it that direction with Mario Wonder, because it's essentially more of the same, right?
Yeah.
It's wahoo, wee
It's a mimic of him.
right. It's an impersonation of Charles Martinet doing Mario.
Yeah.
You know?
Galaxy Red said, "You don't know if that's not what they did, Travis." Yeah, that's what I said. I said I was just asking the question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you ever think? Sorry to cut off, but do you ever think that they're going to like have a mode where you can have normal Mario voice? Like, let's say they bring Chris Pratt to do a whole voice, or are they option of just like the grunts and all that, kind of like Lego?
No, I think they will. The only way Mario will be represented in a full normal voice is in a movie.
Movies.
Outside of that, in games, they don't need to. They have a history of Nintendo characters not really having a voice.
Well, and if you think about it, his games, he doesn't say a whole lot anyway. You know what I'm saying? So what would be the point in having him have a normal voice? Because he's not like having full-on conversations.
Well, that's the thing. Like Lego video games did that. They start off with grunts and everything, right? But since I think Lord of the Rings was the first one in like 2012, 2013, they put on all the voice dialogue. And for when Lego Star Wars, the video game came out last year, like the complete, if you want to call it, saga, you had the option of all the grunts, or you had the voice lines, and a lot of the actors came in to do the voice lines. Like the Clone Wars actors came in and did everything again. So there's the options.
Don't you think that that's Nintendo's thing though? Because they haven't given.
That's why I was wondering what you guys thought.
They haven't given a lot of characters a voice. Like Link doesn't have a voice. Mario doesn't have a voice. Does Kirby have a voice? I don't think so.
Even even Princess Peach doesn't have really a voice. Luigi doesn't have a really voice.
And I think in my mind that's always so you can put yourself in their shoes and identify yourself with the character.
I prefer like the grunts and all that too, and like the lack of voice lines. I was just curious if people would ever be interested in it. That was something someone would ever want, like a
I don't know. I don't think I would, but you know.
I think the idea of what you see with certain characters in Nintendo, specifically with like Princess, right? You'll hear she'll go Mario, and then there'll be a letter. What, you have a problem with my Princess Peach? They'll give her one line, and then there'll be like a letter or something that's written to Mario, and then you read that in her voice that was given to you by one sentence, right? And you can kind of hear it in that way. So I know that in the Zelda games, they're starting to give, like, Ganon has a voice now, which is interesting.
But I understand that, because who's gonna identify with Ganon? You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, when I was younger, I kind of liked the villains and cartoons and stuff, but that's because they had cool powers and stuff. But who's gonna identify with Ganon as a character? You know what I mean? So you can give him this evil bad guy voice. In my opinion.
I think Zelda's an entirely different beast, right? It's a narrative-driven game. Mario games are like, oh, something bad happened. Let's do something good, whereas there's an entire narrative around Zelda games. So it helps to have some sort of voice acting associated with it. But I think specifically with Nintendo, specifically with Mario, specifically in the Mario universe, which is primarily what Martinet has worked in. He did the Wario voices, the Luigi voice, pretty much all the mainline character games that are males. It'll be interesting.
Maybe they were thinking they were paying him too much then if he was doing all of them. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure that Charles Martinet has made quite a very a nice living.
If you're doing all of the iterations of bad Mario, Luigi, good Mario, you know what I'm saying? Then you kind of have like a little bit of a bargaining chip, don't you? Because you're doing so many voices. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe, but at the end of the day, like, his net worth is $10 million. So
He made
you
some
know,
money doing some voice acting.
but if you think about this, right, the idea of he's been doing it for 30 years,
Yeah.
30 years or so, right?
Yeah.
So he got the job when he was, let's just say 37. He's 67 now, right? So he was probably struggling his entire life leading up to getting this amazing opportunity. And I think if you were to say, hey, do you want to be the voice actor for Mario? And by the time you're ready to retire, have $10 million in the bank, I think he'd be like, yeah. And replace Mario with literally any character ever and still have $10 million in the bank. I think he'd be very happy with that, especially with all the wonderful experiences he's been able to have over the past 30 years or so, traveling everywhere. And and that, by the way, that money, I'm sure I'm sure he does cameos and all sorts of.
He does conventions.
Actually, I was just going to ask a question. Like, do you guys think, say there's a Mario toy out there and it says something in the Mario voice, do you guys think he gets paid for that if it's his voice?
Like a royalty?
I'm just curious. Yeah, just like a small percentage. That'd be, because
you'd have to see his contract.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know, or if that's, since it's something from the game, they don't have to pay him again or whatever. But that's just a voice acting
Miller
thing.
On. She's a voice actress, and I asked her about royalties if she ever got any of that stuff, and she doesn't get royalties at all. So
the answer is probably no.
I would doubt voice actors do get royalty because it's not their likeness; it's just their voice.
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Sucks sometimes, but there it is.
Yeah, but I just looked. He's not on Cameo, but I would imagine that and that's probably a contract
Craig
thing.
was gonna go get one. Hey.
Listen. How much money do you think people would pay to have?
Oh, hundreds.
Yeah, $500 probably.
Doing cons makes you a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money, and you wouldn't think but if you can pay $20 a pop for a signed photograph, and you got 600 people on the line, that's a lot of money. And then they pay you to be there too and speak. So I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think that. I think if he was to open up a Cameo, I think he would have a line, forever, just waiting people to be like, yeah, awesome,
Fuck, that could be his retirement plan, pay
Definitely.
for his travels or whatever he wants to do.
Definitely. Kyle came in and says, my favorite Charles Martinet line is, oh, the camera's on. Camera's been on the whole time, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Hello. Oh, wait, wrong guy. Sorry. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate that. Hayden came in with a 10. Thank you so much. Hayden says, I'm thinking he will now be an employee of Nintendo for a few years. This could set him up with a nice retirement package rather than being a contract voice actor. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, the whole idea. And dude brought this up over on Rumble with the Rumble rant. He says, Mario Ambassador probably means he'll be allowed to use his Mario voices for fan events without Nintendo coming after him for copyright purposes. Japan has archaic copyright laws.
Right? Well, even if they don't pay him to be the Mario ambassador, if they just pay for his travel and his stay and his dinner where he's going, imagine that life. You get a flight to Japan or wherever and just go say some lines, meet your fans, and get everything paid for and get a free vacation. I'm down.
Maybe he even has some say in the dialogue or something in the video game too. Like, no, I don't really think that works. You never know.
I don't think Charles Martinet has any say in what the character says. Yeah. No, possible. Just personally, I think he's a hired gun. That's what he does, And honestly, the fact that he's done this for 30 years is pretty amazing as is. Just that's a major accomplishment. Career. Having that job singular for 30 years is crazy. Nerd Zerd, I think that's correct. Let me know how bad I butchered your name. It says, do you think, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. It says, do you think people would have been more accepting if it was a licensed AI voice with royalties? And Peach has a voice in Mario 64. Start and end. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Nerd Zerd. Sorry for butchering your name.
Yeah, she does. She reads out the letter or something, if I recall. Yeah.
People would have been more accepting if it was a licensed AI voice.
Licensed of him, like they did an AI of him, and then
like a likeness of
and then paid him royalties. I think that's what he means.
Yeah, I think that'd be a horrible idea, especially
then-
given the state of Hollywood right now.
Right, and then why not just do what I said before and use, because they have 30 years of pre-recorded shit of his. I'm sure they have enough lines.
If you were to think of all the different voices that Mario's had over the years, because he's had many prior to Charles Martinet being the voice of Mario. I go back to Captain Lou Albano on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. It's like kind of like, hey, paisanos, there's kind of that scruffy voice to it. Then there was the voice actor who did the cartoon. I don't think that was Lou Albano, but he's had a normal voice. And as was pointed out in the chat by Super Mayor EO, says Charles Martinet is the reason why Mario has an Italian accent. Right. Prior to that, he was just you just kind of had a regular scruffy voice, So he certainly shaped the character in like a major way. And it'll be really interesting to see kind of what they do with Mario moving ahead, because at the end of the day, what we heard in the Wonder trailer was more or less an impression of the way Charles Martinet does Mario. So do they want to keep him as a stereotypical Italian plumber? I don't see why they shouldn't.
You dropped up a little bit over there.
Guess that we'll see what happens with this.
Just me? No,
yeah,
there
I
you
don't know
are.
what's going on with the internet.
Yeah.
You're back
me
now.
thing? What is going
Oh, he's gone again.
Yeah, like 30 minutes into every show.
It kind of happened what it did last time. You cut off for a while, and then you were desynced, and then it caught up.
Like 30 minutes. Maybe
It's like you're sharing something? I don't know.
No, I'm sharing my opinions on the internet. That's about it. So
Silence.
I don't even understand. It seems like it happens like once a show. Robot Craig. Maybe we need to have a Robot Craig emote whenever it happens. Nerdzerd came back, says, and Nintendo has Charles Martinet under contract where he can no longer say things in the Mario voice that Mario wouldn't say because convention requests.
So they can't go in there and say, hey, will you say happy birthday, blah, 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 blah. Right.
Love it. Yeah. And maybe Mario would say that, but that's, it's not like he's going to be like,
but
it's me, you bitch ass motherfucker.
I think Nintendo wants to make the choice, though. You know what I'm saying? Mario may say that, but he doesn't know that for a fact till he asks Nintendo.
Right. Well, that's obviously interesting, and we'll have a better understanding of where they want to take Mario when Wonder comes out here in just a couple months now, which is awesome. I'm really excited for that. Let's get on it. Okay, next story. Man, this was kind of crazy to see. One of my favorite movies of the late 90s turned 25 years old today. People talk about comic book movies. I didn't know this was a comic book. And I'm talking about one of the most badass motherfuckers. Blade turns 25 years old today, released in theaters back then. Blab, have you ever seen Blade?
No, I haven't.
Of course you haven't.
Well, listen, everyone's always like, oh my God, it's such a great movie. I just never watched it, though.
Trav, you seen Blade?
Is it rated R?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Blade. Wesley Snipes, I like the movies, but Wesley Snipes is one of those people like Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris I just don't like, because it's an over cocky attitude, if that makes sense. And I get being a badass and all that, but when you go about your life acting like you're infallible, it annoys me.
Are you talking about Wesley Snipes or Blade?
Wesley Snipes himself. So
right,
it annoys me to watch that movie.
Okay, well,
I think he did a good job acting. Don't get me wrong.
This movie.
Isn't the new Blade movie on hiatus right now?
Are they making a new Blade movie?
Yeah, it's been announced for years now.
I'm out.
And then,
I can't deal with this shit.
I think, was it the director dropped out or the writer dropped out, and they just can't get their shit together.
That's a horrible idea. Horrible idea. Doing that. There's at no point should you make a new Blade movie. None.
Well, they should never remake movies. Just make new movies, right?
So
You know the sad thing, Craig? They're gonna make a new Blade, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're coming out with that Morpheus movie. And who does Morpheus fight villains with? Blade.
I don't know. Does he?
You're asking Craig these questions. Craig isn't Gary.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, their stories are directly entwined. Okay, so if they make a Morpheus movie, they're gonna make a new Blade.
Yeah, they're making it for MCU. As
Now
Joe
they might bring Wesley Snipes back as it. I don't know how old is he, but we
ruined Craig's day.
They will have a Blade, guaranteed.
Well,
yeah, see,
they will not.
Right.
You mean the movies? What?
They cast that guy who I can't pronounce his name.
Mahershala Ali.
See,
Blade, yeah.
They already got another Blade.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this: they will, in no uncertain terms, be able to top the original Blade. The original Blade had this incredible sense of incredible badassery with the opening scene where there's a rave of vampires being showered in blood, only to have Blade come in and slice and dice like a freaking Ginsu knife. Man, I'll tell you what, it was awesome. Awesome.
I gotta like this movie. I watch it.
You would love it.
I like
even
that.
Even if it's gory, because I don't do that. That's why I've never watched it.
I wouldn't even say it's gory. It's bloody. It's gory.
I don't know. At the end, it's kind of a little gory, but I see. I like that badassery in the movie, but when you can't let that go after the movie's over, and that's like your normal personhood, that's when it bothers me. That's why Steven Seagal acts the same way. Chuck Norris acts the same way. Wesley Snipes acts the same way.
Let me see if I can find the best find the whole movie. It's one of those things where when you watch this movie, there's so many good lines. So many good lines.
I've heard nothing but good stuff for it.
We're gonna get flagged for this
because I don't like the whole gore stuff and blood.
Well, listen.
I like butterflies and flowers, okay?
Here we go. Well, listen, I'm about to give you some butterflies right here. Check this out. Butterflies from Wesley Snipes. All right, here we go. Check this out.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Toss it up in the air. Oh, get out of here. Let's go. Oh my God. That's the end. It's just so you know. And he does it
if
with the
that is not good enough. I mean, if that bothers Blab, not good enough. I don't know why I said that. If that little bothers Blab, she can't watch this movie. She cannot watch this movie. Man. I mean, do you remember like the mutants under the thing and all that? She can't watch this.
Dude, he tosses a vial.
I like butterflies.
He tosses a vial in the air, spin kicks it into his forehead.
I know, it is pretty badass. I just could do without the blood. It's like, ding, bullseye. You know?
It's a movie about vampires, Blabs. I can't tell you you're not going to have, he's a vampire hunter. That's what he does. He's a vampire killer. So it's pretty good.
How are they going to put this in the MCU? Does that mean vampires are a thing in the MCU
Yes,
now?
he's also half vampire. Yes, vampires have always been a thing in the MCU, actually.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies?
Yes.
When?
Not the movies, but the Marvel Universe. Well, I mean, you have to assume that things in the cinematic universe are just as real as things in the comic universe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have Thor, who's from Asgard. So of course, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't you have vampires?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
He's a space god. Like, let
me just say this, Blabs. The opening scene is I'm not going to show you the scene.
I can see it though.
But you can see, you can see in the preview over there. Check this out.
Yeah.
So there's a rave of vampires in blood they're in a meat. I think it's like a meat house or a meat market, and blood is like showering down on them. And there's this guy playing rave music, and the music is the freaking coolest thing in the world. Starts up, Blade walks in, all over the place. Dead
Do that
Vampires
again.
everywhere. Nah, you just go to the replay. Check that out. And she's all slicing and dicing up here. I'm telling you, man. He's cleaning house, and it's the best. Look, he's just disintegrating people. Check this out. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, Blabs. You got to see this thing. It's so good.
I will say this for
Okay.
90s movies, man, there were some really good action scenes in 90s movies, like The Matrix, Blade. There's just so many of them that it's just great.
Blabs, it is filled with all sorts of high testosterone moments. It'll make you grow hair on your balls. All right, I'm telling you that right now. It's amazing stuff.
Okay.
It's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Yeah, just letting you know that it's important. Kyle says, "Guess you can say your internet is stuttering." Hey, thanks,
agree.
Kyle. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to our next story. You guys want to go back into video games? Sure, why not? Hey, Overwatch 2 has kind of been critically panned by people. I don't know. It's one of those games that people just hate, right? I don't know enough about it, but it's been review bombed, and the game's director has responded to the Steam reviews bombing. So I will give you two options. Did this go well, or did
it went
this
terribly.
go poorly?
He shredded his audience, didn't he?
Well, let me show you. All right. Overwatch 2 director Aaron Keller has taken some time to not only respond to the game's unfortunate review bombing. Why are they going to do this? The game's unfortunate review bombing. Just take out unfortunate. This is a great example, by the way, of Adam Bankshurst. And I don't know who Adam is, but this is a great example of a journalist putting in their personal taste into this. Take unfortunate out. Overwatch 2 director Aaron Keller has taken the time to not only respond to the game's review bombing on Steam, but also reassure fans how much content is waiting ahead of them. Okay, once again, this is drives me crazy. For those unfamiliar, Overwatch 2 launched on Steam on August 10th, and quickly became the worst reviewed game on the platform ever. As of time of the story, Overwatch 2 has a score of 0.96 out of 10, based on an approval rating of 10% from 92,000 votes.
Wow.
So he went on Blizzard and addressed the review bombing. Says, we also launched on Steam last week, and although being review bombed isn't a fun experience, it's been great to see a lot of new players jump into Overwatch 2 for the first time. Our goal with Overwatch 2 has been to make the game more accessible than ever for more people than ever before.
See, I disagree with what he said. Go back up. He said,
what's there to disagree about here?
He said, it's been great to see all these new players jump into. I don't think those people review bombing are new players. I think those are Overwatch fans who got pissed off and then posted their opinion.
Yeah, but people still download the game and play it, and they may be new to the game. You know,
they may be, but he's acting like this happened because all these new people were playing. That has nothing to do with it. People are pissed. Your fans are pissed.
Well, let's continue. It says many of the reviews on Steam mention the cancellation of the much larger component of PvE that was announced in 2019 as one of the primary reasons for dissatisfaction of the game. Keller said, "I get that. That announcement was about an ambitious project that we ultimately couldn't deliver. If we can't turn back the clock, then what can we do? We can keep adding and improving Overwatch 2. That is how we move forward. This means more maps, heroes, game modes, missions, stories, events, cool cosmetics, and features. An ever-expanding, evolving, and improving game. This is the future of Overwatch. One where we will continually create and innovate on what is making the game great now for the players who are playing it." Right. So
the reason why I say
there's still more though.
The reason why I say he's referring to the new people as that is because he addressed the review bomb right before he said but I like all these new players playing. So he's inferring that they're the new players review bombing. That's what it is.
I don't think that's what he's inferring at all, Trev.
That's how it came off to me.
Yeah, that's not what I heard at all. I just think there's new players coming in, they're getting review bombed, and it is what it is. But he's happy that there's more players playing it.
Well, in that article, right after you finished reading, it was talking about that mode that was canceled.
Yeah,
So that's probably to do with
right. And it was the PvE, a player versus environment hero mode, right? And there's supposed to be story and all that stuff. And I actually think, it's funny. I gave you two choices, Blabs, to because generally these things are handled horribly, but I actually think he handles it pretty good. He's like, look, we can't turn back the clock. We screwed up. And I guess he didn't really say we screwed up, but I guess that's the way I read it, is we can't turn back the clock, but we can add more stuff. Now, my response to that would be, if I was an Overwatch 2 player, would be, you can add more stuff. Well, why don't you just make the PvE stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to add all these missions and game modes, and it even says stories and events and cosmetics and features and maps and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you just do the PvE thing? Why don't you just devote?
bring it back, because that's what they're pissed off about.
Yeah,
then.
if that's what they're mad about, clearly you got 62,000 people that want it. Don't you think that's enough?
Isn't it 92,000?
Or however many it was.
Yeah, a shit ton.
And I had a problem with that first little part, but I agree with you. Everything after that, I think he handled it well. Yeah. I just think that part was kind of, making an excuse.
Fat Fox says, does any site ever talk about review bombing with 10 out of 10s? I think I remember hearing a little bit about that with, I guess Zelda can't really be review bombed. I guess it could be on like a Rotten Tomatoes, but not necessarily on Steam. So I guess, yeah, I remember hearing a little bit about that with Zelda, being like, is this game really that good? And people are just giving it 10 out of 10 because they're Nintendo fanboys or whatever, but maybe I'm wrong. So, but it's certainly not as prevalent, because once and we're going to get into this in a little bit. Negativity is easier to sell than positivity, and say, well, they're only giving it 1 out of 10. So look at these idiots. Is way better than be like, everyone's giving it 10 out of 10. Look at these idiots, unless it's a horrible game that people are review bombing 10 out of 10s just as like a meme. So,
do you guys think, if, like, take Zelda for example, when everybody was giving it those positive scores, do you think somebody who buys the game and is just so happy they finally got it and played it and gives it a 10 out of 10, do you think that's different than somebody being more objective and doing it? Because I don't see a problem with that person giving it a 10 out of 10.
It depends if they really think it's a 10 out of 10.
If their claims are reasonable to make it a 10 out of 10, right? If it's like, this is the dopest game ever, but then you don't explain anything, you don't actually critique the game, you don't give, like, where's your evidence? Show the receipts, then, yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Right. As pointed out, Joe says Barbie was positively review bombed, wasn't it? Good question. The Barbie movie is still killing it. I have not looked at the Barbie review scores on Rotten Tomatoes, because I think that's really the only place that you can do it.
I think it just got dethroned this weekend for that Blue Beetle movie, since it came out.
So the tomato meter, certified fresh, has it in 88%. The audience
that
score,
ain't bad for the critic people.
Yeah. And the audience score is 83% on 10,000 plus verified ratings on Rotten Tomatoes for Barbie. So yeah, I'm sure there's tons of people. That's, it's funny, going back to my experience online. One thing that so on Screw Attack, we allowed people to rate articles and content on a day-to-day basis, right? In game reviews and stuff like that. So people could rate anywhere between a scale of 1 to 10. But we actually also gave them 111 that they could rate every day. Because if they found something that was awesome, they can give it like 11. What we found was the vast majority of people either rated something a 10 or 11 or a 1. There was no like, that's a 3, So, or that's a 7. It was either this is the best or it's absolute shit.
Well,
And
isn't that
nothing in
usually
between.
because the people who are in between don't care enough to leave the rating? You see what I'm saying? So if you don't think it's a horrible game and it gets you riled up, or you don't think it's a great game and you get real happy, you don't care enough to go leave the rating.
Right. Or just read the review or anything like that. Right. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, there's absolute truth in that. Sal came in with a $2 direct donation. Travis, he says, Norris is cocky because he earned it. Chuck Norris holds a 183, 10, and 2 record and is a 6-time world champion in full contact bare knuckles karate. The only living fighter that knows Bruce Lee is 100% legit fighter. Seagal, however, doesn't earn it. Overwatch sucks. Overwatch 2 sucks too. Thanks, Al. Appreciate that.
All right.
Chuck Norris is a man. A man's man. Testosterone. All sorts of
Balls.
stuff. Balls. That's right. There you go, Blabs.
Hey, Blabs, you ever seen Walker, Texas Ranger?
No,
I just like asking Blabs things I know she'll say no to.
Mhm, mhm.
thanks.
Okay. I got one more story for you guys before we we'll see if we have time for this other stuff today. All right. Are you familiar with the big documentary that's on Netflix right now? It's the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I saw it the other day. I didn't even know that was a documentary.
Yeah,
It popped on Netflix and it like Johnny Depp's face was there. I was like, huh?
Yeah, I actually am the same. I was getting on Netflix to watch what I watch before I go to bed, and I saw Amber Heard's face, and I'm like, what the fuck is that bitch doing on Netflix?
Okay. So I went and I watched this thing over the weekend, right? And it's a documentary about the trial. It's a 3-part documentary. It's probably all in, probably 2.5 hours long. And I just kind of casually watched it while I'm doing laundry or whatever I'm doing in between soccer games. And there is more or less it's about the trial and the response of social media from the trial. It talks about YouTubers talking about it. Ricada Law is in it, but
That's cool.
specifically there was a channel called Popcorned Planet in it that followed it pretty heavily. Now I'm not familiar with this channel, but this guy Andy Signor, I guess he started Screen Junkies.
I recognize that name, yeah.
And Honest Trailers. So he's been around for a while doing, and he's clearly had success online for a long time. And like, great, seems awesome.
Honest Trailers used to be really great. I love them.
Right. So Andy, Signor,
Actually, he was one of the people our community suggested we get on the show. That's why I know the name.
I would love that. That'd be awesome to talk.
Now that I looked up his picture, I believe I've actually sent him an email. I just never got a response. But
well, I think we should absolutely do that. He's probably pretty hot right now, so he's probably not going to respond to a whole lot. Absolutely Rudderless says Sigmore is a sleazeball. Well, please tell us more. I don't know. I'm just going based off what is the common perception. So, anyways, he tweeted this out, and I'm not gonna show this just yet, but I want you to hear this. Actually, no, I will show this to you, but don't read ahead. He says, this is unbelievable. I made a video breaking down the full story on how Netflix is illegally stealing our footage during and after the Johnny Depp trial without any commentary or parody. And they just did it again. YouTube, they are abusing the copyright system. How is this my burden to prove? I own and uploaded the footage first, but now this documentary and Netflix can seemingly steal any YouTuber's work and then get YouTube to say they own it and monetize it, but we are the grifters. I hear they paid creators to license their clip. I have proof they tried to license/pay me, but I never gave them permission. They just went on anyway, knowing they did not have my permission. Does Netflix even know this? I'm going to post the link to the full story below where attorney Christopher Melcher chimes in too. Hashtag justice for Johnny Depp fam. This is wrong. Please spread the word and hit my bio with ways to support me and potential legal fund. Okay, so this is interesting here. He has a 2-minute video here, and oddly enough, we are probably going to get hit by copyright for the same reason.
Funny enough, The right off the top of my head, I think because Netflix is a company, YouTube lends them more credibility and automatically believes them. And I don't think that's right.
Well, that's the way it works. By the way, Shaker Maker says Andy threw Geeks and Gamers under the bus for virtue points. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Thinking of, isn't he a company? He may be a small business, but it's still an LLC. It's a company, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, why is their company more credibility? Because it's a larger company. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Because they're Netflix, and like 40% of the
Netflix can fuck themselves.
Netflix has lawyers. But let's go and watch this really quick, and you can kind of see what's going on with this.
Guys, this is insane. The video that I just posted on Popcorn Planet, which I need your help sharing, also just got copyright claimed by Netflix. They are literally trying to claim ownership of footage that they don't own. And this isn't even like fair use, guys. No, the video I just posted talking about how they're claiming this did it again. And I want you to see it firsthand. So here it is. Copyright protected content found. All right, well, let's see the details. What is this? Well, you go down, you see this is blocked and copyright. Now, the copyright owners, you can see here, Netflix and Channel 4. And look at every territory in the world. They are the owners. All right, so what are they the owners of? 14 minutes and 16 seconds in is what they're claiming. If we go to that section. And here it is. It is categorically false. But no, all right,
so he goes in, and I'm not going to play this because I don't want to get flagged. But what they did in the documentary was take actually his video of him talking about this whole thing. So Netflix took his content, put it in the documentary, and now when he goes in and he talks about the documentary on Netflix that took his content, they are now claiming his content as their own.
It's wild. Now I have a question about this documentary. Is Johnny Depp involved in this in any sort of way, or is it like an unbiased, separated from both of them, just looking at it?
I wouldn't say it's unbiased. Neither of them are directly attached to it at all. It's a third party retelling of everything, and mostly about how social media played a big role in it. It does lean into the idea that social media played a big role in the verdict in the case, because the jury wasn't sequestered, and the judge did say, look, you can't pay attention to anything about this case on social media, but it was like the biggest story in the world. So.
But whose fault is that? That's Amber Heard's fault. She's the one who went and wrote 6-page op-eds about it to everybody and their mother. And so how could there be a jury sequestered when the whole world knows about it ahead of time?
But look, Trav, I don't know. I'm not the judge, but
you know what I mean? It's just a logical fallacy.
Johnny Depp's not involved whatsoever, because then that makes him look like a real piece of shit.
Well, no, as far as I know, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are not directly associated with this. But
I don't think there should be like a union for YouTubers like this, but there should be some sort of legal fund that people can donate to, that when something like this happens and it's some giant company, because what other recourse do you have when they have 36 lawyers? You know what I mean? So
it's funny.
How are you supposed to pay for that?
It's funny you mentioned this, Travis. I actually was talking to, I've been talking to a group of YouTubers over the last, I don't know, month or so, about putting together it's not a union. I think a union, like I said, I think unions are way,
the term union is made into something, that isn't, what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but more of like a chamber of commerce, right? I think a chamber of commerce is a better descriptor, and that it's a place for people to connect, and the ability to have a single voice when it comes to situations like this. I think a chamber of commerce like an online chamber of commerce is an interesting idea. Like I said, unions are, to me, they're abused in a major way, but I do think that there's something to the effect of coming together and being able to bounce ideas off each other and extend your network, because
a conglomerate of collaborators. There you go.
Right, as Henry says, a group with a seat at the table. Right, and I think that's the biggest thing. So,
yeah, I think you're 100% right, and because what if you're a mid-size, you make a living doing it, maybe you make $120,000 a year, whatever, how the hell could you even afford a lawyer that is good enough to argue with one Netflix lawyer, let alone 30? They'll just drown you in paperwork. That one lawyer is not even going to be able to do the paperwork.
Well, of course, and that's what you see oftentimes. That's where startups' biggest expense is lawyers, for sure. It's crazy how much, and that's where the idea of acquisitions actually makes so much sense, because when you're a small company, you don't have those resources, and you're acquired with the idea of having access to to the lawyers. I remember when we were acquired from Fullscreen, we had it was weird because we went from like negotiating really heavily with lawyers and going back and forth to, once the contract was signed, is like, okay, now we're best friends. And it was a really weird relationship. It was like you're kind of competing against them to try to get the best deal for you and your employees. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, now we're buddies again. Here we are, and
Weird.
yeah, it was interesting for sure. So,
it's one of them things like, and I don't even know. Let me get you guys' opinion on this, because I'm curious to know what you think. I don't think it should be, how a union is, you have to pay a due or you're not represented at all. I think if there is this legal fund or group, even if somebody isn't a part of it, if something happens to them, they need to be represented, because that could affect all content creators on YouTube, because it might set landmark precedent and law that helps everybody. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I think it's a kind of on a case-by-case basis, right?
True.
I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, hey,
because you can't protect everybody.
Right. Which is why, dues in a situation like that are so important. And as Fantastic Sarcastic says, like a network of multiple channels, I think in a situation like that, and I get what you're saying, because there was these MCNs back in the day, multi-channel networks, right? And these are 10 years ago, a decade ago now, right? 10, 12 years ago. So like what Machinima was, what Fullscreen was, what these companies were. But those companies were designed to sell advertising for you. That they were more of a business. They were more of a coming together for business perspective.
They controlled your revenue, didn't they? It went through them.
Yeah. I would say for most of it, yeah.
And like a guild or whatever wouldn't do that. You'd pay into it. Not like all your money goes to them and then they give it back to you. You know what I mean? That's just weird.
Henry says, I wonder how much say monster channels like Rhett and Link have on YouTube goes about their business. Yeah, I don't think they have any say in YouTube at all. I think in a situation like YouTube, where you have let's be real, limitless amount of creators, a limitless amount of stars, and a limitless amount of genres, I think listening to one creator is pointless.
Now,
what they do have is data.
I disagree with that just a little bit, and I only say that for certain people, like Mr. Beast, with how much money he brings them. I guarantee if something like this happened to him, they'd give him a little more credibility than they do a smaller person. Guaranteed.
Well, of course, they're going to listen to him first, especially after like the 40 million view thing that we talked about on Friday with his video being struck down by a copyright claim. But this is just another example of YouTube and its inability to have any sort of proper copyright. I mean, the copyright claim system is just absolutely broken. It's a mess.
It's almost with everything. It's all too much computer control. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough real people making a decision. It's the same problem you have when you call Comcast or your internet people or whoever. You're on hold for 26 minutes with a goddamn voice that isn't a person. How's that going to help anybody? So if it's a computer program making this decision, there's context to everything. How can a computer program see context?
I will not eat the bugs over on Rumble says the doc is biased. And yeah, I would say that it leans. It's weird because I think it leans both ways at times, right? Which in ways you could say it's unbiased because it leans both ways. But going back to the Herd Depth documentary on Netflix, they talk about how a lot of the online community was in very much favor for Johnny Depp, and how and how it may have played a role in the decision. And then at the end, and it talks, but it doesn't shy away from showing that Amber Heard is a giant piece of shit who literally shit the bed.
That's gross.
Like I think at the end of the day, and it's said pretty well in the documentary, like all it does when you hear, and this is larger than the case. This is just online in general. All this does when you hear information about somebody you like is it validates your thoughts towards them. And when you hear information about somebody you don't like, you immediately devalue that information. And you go, well, yeah. And that's true for literally anything. Pick a video game platform, pick a video game movie, pick your favorite musician, pick your favorite politician, right? And that's just how the human brain works. And I think we saw that in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case. So
The funniest
there's
part.
a really big question right there. Does documentary show a reenactment of the bed shitting?
No, actually, unfortunately, it does not show Amber Heard pooping in bed.
The funniest part about the whole Amber Heard thing is what sealed the deal for the jury was she recorded when she said she was hitting Johnny. That was her recording. That's the funniest part about all of it. She's the one who provided the evidence against herself.
You know what's amazing is that there's literally a picture of Amber Heard's poop on the internet.
Ew, did you Google that?
Yeah, I did.
Just now, you're like, Amber Heard poop.
No, Amber Heard pooped in the bed is what I searched.
Well, yeah, because it's a matter of public record because it's in the court case. Right, so they had to admit it to the court case. So now anybody can put a petition in to get that public record.
I got to be honest. Let me just say this. It's amazing to think something that disgusting can come out of someone that looks that beautiful.
I find it hilarious that there's a photo of her shit.
Listen, I also find it amazing that somebody who's so naturally beautiful can be so disgusting, just as a whole,
Well, I mean, what does that say about your personality that no matter how mad you are with somebody that you would shit in their bed? You know what I mean? Rather than just leaving, or maybe calling them names or whatever, you shit in their bed. Like,
let me just say this. This is not where I wanted to take this story. The whole idea of this topic was the idea of YouTube and their copyright system. But let me just say this. The documentary itself really showed two bad people, and for lack of a better word, being just absolute shits to each other. And two people who have done horrible, crappy, pardon the pun, crappy things to each other.
Shitty crap.
and they're both just bad people. Neither of them are good people.
I think
you should not admire either of them.
I said that months ago to you and Adam backstage, and you guys were like, why do you think that? How do you think Johnny Depp's not a good guy? I was like, I don't really like him that much. I think Amber Heard's worse. Yeah, that happened. Adam got a little triggered back then.
It wasn't me.
I think the line for me is the physical stuff. Johnny Depp may be an asshole. He may be a bad guy. He may be verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, but she was physically abusing him. She had the choice to walk out, and she didn't. And instead, she turned around and attacked him.
You may want to watch. You may want to watch the very end of it.
Yeah,
Travis,
they slapped each other.
Because apparently he kicked her on an airplane, and that was not be able to be used. In
but like, there's many instances of her attacking.
Yeah, look, they're both horrible people.
They both suck.
They're both suck.
So my point is, how many times can you be attacked and hit before you kick somebody on a plane?
I don't know. I mean, when your life is filled with drugs and alcohol, and you can't seem to kill it. I mean, at a certain
Yeah, when you
point,
can't get your head out of your ass,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
got
like-
shit in the bed.
and I'm
he's
not
been
saying
high since he was
he's
11.
I'm not saying he's right at all or he's a good person. Like I said, I just think she was way worse than, and we need to make that distinction. I need to, not you guys. I need to.
They're both just assholes.
Yeah, it's just one.
She did shit in his bed.
I know.
He didn't
Sorry,
shit in her bed.
that was one more
I
pun for
mean-
you at the end. All right. Hey, Chris came in and says Blizzard today is incapable of making good games. They're now run entirely by marketing types who only think of their customers as suckers to fleece. Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Tell us how you really feel.
Hey, how do you think it would have went over if Johnny Depp would have shit in her bed?
I mean,
Why do you want to know these things?
I just find it humorous because I think the reaction to it would have been completely different.
yeah,
Anyway.
I like, as an enemy said, Craig obviously didn't watch any of the trial. No, I didn't. I didn't watch any of the trial. I'm just I color me jaded all you want, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think that you should admire anybody that you see online, on TV, in movies, in music. I don't think you should admire any of those people because
Definitely
I've
your
met them
friends.
and they are shitholes. They're giant jerks. Most of them, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how many people don't have the time for you, don't, want to treat you poorly because you're not on their level, whatever. Like, I've seen this, I've experienced it, I've been through it. And most of these people are not good people. Now, look, there are some, but I think that they are the exception to the rule
Mhm.
as opposed to the other way around. So,
Yeah, like
Sure.
Dolly Parton, I believe she's a naturally nice lady. You know what I mean? And she would stop and talk to you and be nice to you. Know what I mean? Someone like that.
well, I'll say this. I guarantee you could find somebody online talking about how Dolly Parton is a horrible person and
Yeah.
what,
Yeah, because she was in
I
a
hate
hurry.
Dolly Parton fan club.
She was in a hurry one day to get home to her dogs who were shitting all over this place, and somebody said, "Stop and talk to me," and she didn't have time.
right.
You know what I mean? That
I
happens
feel
to
like
everybody.
Travis is like a secret Dolly Parton fan.
No, actually, the only music of hers I know was that song that was remade by somebody else. And I forget the name of it, but
Right. Anonymity says, I work with a lot of musician talents. I get what you're trying to prove a point on, something that was proven completely false. I'm just speaking in generalities, friend. That's all. I'm speaking like just in general. There's a better than zero chance that these people are shitholes,
Mhm.
right? That's all. So St. G says at the shot every time. Craig says at the end of the day. Well, at the end of the day, we're gonna move on to our next story here. Thanks, St. G. Take another shot. D-Sub says
dang,
Dolly
you're
is
gonna
a
be-
gem. If you look at her life, she's a
dang,
gem.
you're gonna be drunk as fuck, man.
That's right. Dude came in with a $1 Rumble rant. Says that umbrella guy, Papa Gundam, and Nick Rekieta are better people to ask about the Heard Depp trial. Well, once again, I don't really care about that. What I do care about is Netflix claiming YouTubers' videos on stuff that isn't theirs. That's really what the story came about. But all right, now let's move on to one final thing. And we got about 10 minutes. I think this should definitely cover it. So I've been online for a long time, and I've never really talked about religion. I'm not a huge religion guy. I've never been a big I don't know. Like I've worked with people who are insanely religious. But I was invited to go to a church this past weekend to go watch a couple friends speak. And there are a couple guys I play basketball with, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to be speaking at this church over the weekend. If you want to come and listen." Now, I'm not a big religious guy at all. I don't really care what you believe. I really have no interest in learning if you're, a Muslim, Christian, whatever. It's not my business. And I think it's very individualized to everybody, very specific to you. And whatever you believe, it's great. I don't really care, right? But I'll say this: I do think that there's something to like the whole idea of like the 10 Commandments, right? I think those are pretty good rules to live by, right? Don't go murder somebody, right? Treat other people good. But I during this this speech that my buddies gave, they spoke about loving thy neighbor. And it really resonated with me because these are two guys. One I've known for over 30 years. The other one I've known for several years now. And they talked about loving thy neighbor. And they talked about being good to people around you, not just your neighbors, like your physical neighbors, but people in your community, people in the world, people across across the country, and people you interact with. And that got me thinking about being online and how that equates to being online. And it was a really, I mean, I really struggled with it because, and Blabs, I was telling you this, and we may have talked about this, but Blabs, I don't think you were here the day, but we did, I did this stream the other day, where I last on Wednesday, where I sat there for like 3 hours and I pretty much just complained about Phil, and we had Rich on, and there was yelling and screaming and all this stuff. And I got done with that stream, and honestly, it really bothered me because I was like, God, we're fucking better than that. I'm better than that. And it sat with me for like 2 days. And I put this tweet out about how it's like going out and getting drunk, where you're having an awesome time while you're doing it. I'm having so much fun. This is so much fun. And then the next day you're like, oh, what did I do? Why did I do that? That was so stupid. I'm never drinking again. So going back to this idea of loving thy neighbor, right? I've made mistakes, right? We all have, right? We've all made mistakes. And I think one of the biggest things is you got to be able to forgive yourself, and you got to be able to forgive other people. And, I've tried to go out of my way to take the high road in pretty much any controversy that I've ever been associated with. I've done my best, and it's very easy when you work online to be sucked in, just to be sucked into that bullshit. And I really don't want to do that. I try to live my life as like drama free as possible. And I think that as I go online, and I'm going to need y'all's help. And Blaz, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to Travis. I'm talking to everybody who's watching this. I'm going to need your help because there's going to be times where I'm going to want to be sucked back in, right? I just need to be better than that because, look, has Phil said shitty things about me? Sure. Has Rich said shitty things about me? Yes. Do we agree on everything? No. But I forgive them, right? And I forgive myself for acting stupid at times, right? And I think that's important for people to do. We can disagree on all sorts of things, but I think it's important for us to be able to keep that in mind, the idea that we are all neighbors online and that we are all in this together. And if you just really go back and you think down to the one basic idea of if you were to love your neighbor, whether it's physically, like whether it's your physical neighbor, whether it's your online neighbor, how much better the world would be, right? If we weren't so tied into our own fucking egos, right? And we all have egos. How much better the world would be. And like, I don't want to be the preachy guy at all, but that's just something that resonated with me over the weekend that I wanted to share with you guys. And once again, there will be times where my ego gets in the way, where it's like, oh, I don't know, damn it, blah, blah, blah. And I, but like, Rich made this comment about side scrollers on Twitter, and he was trying to lure in and stuff. And it's like, look, I could have responded to that, and I could have been snide and callous, but I wanted to be better than that, right? I wanted to be better, and I need to be better. We all need to be better, and that's really all I wanted to talk about. So that's pretty much it. So
does that mean if you start to get sucked into the vortex, I get to be like, Craig, no, and like pull you back?
Yes.
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 I have the power. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Pull me back. And it's easy. Like I said, it's very easy to be sucked in and to be consumed with wanting to be right. But, I know that some people have come to this channel looking for drama, And we subscribe for DSP and we only watch you whenever you do DSP stuff. Look, Wednesday was fun, but I don't feel good about it, and I want to be a better person than that, and I certainly, like I said, I don't care how people feel about things. I really don't, and I'm sure people will take this and they're going to make drama content about this, but it is what it is. And I want to be better than that. So that's all.
Well, that was very nice of you to say.
Yeah. I think people got the wrong idea about what I was talking about. I don't have a problem with what Rich said. I don't have a problem with what Melanie said. I was just trying to tell Rich, hey, when you're trying to tell somebody what they're saying is wrong, don't say wrong things. The exact same things you're saying is wrong.
Well, look, I don't really care. I mean, I don't really care.
But my point is, I'm not mad at him. I don't care about Rich's opinion of me, It's Rich, I don't care about Melanie's opinion of me. It's Melanie. Okay. Either of them are not going to affect my life. You know what I'm saying? So whatever.
Let me just say this. Before I was like, I'm going to bring back SideScrollers, I was talking to a YouTuber who has close to 1 million subscribers. And they're like, look, you can do this. And I'm going to tell you the playbook. And it's all about drama. It's all about drama. Drama will get you there and you will grow so fast. You get into the drama space, you will fly. Your subscribers will fly up. You're going to make so much money. And they're right. Like what we just talked about, this Amber Heard thing, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp thing. It's all drama, right? Mm-hmm. These channels blew up because they were associated with this drama, right? I don't want to deal with that shit. Like, I'm good with asking questions. I'm good with asking hard questions about people. I'm good with wanting to know answers about why certain things happen. That's just part of doing interviews. But and naturally that's going to, there'll be people just like we talked about with this, where you're going to hear what you want to hear. It's either going to validate your opinion or you're going to want to discredit it, depending on what side of the fence you line on. I'm still going to have interviews. We're going to do way more interviews on this channel, right?
Now
interviews
they won't be 5.5 hour.
No. But
they're not going to be DSP style interviews, just to clarify that for everybody.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, I take a shot. We're going to need your help, because this is a slow grind. And this is going to be a really slow grind, because when you don't do drama content, it takes forever. It's going to take forever to build, because drama is what clicks. It goes back to the old newspaper heading, the old saying in newspapers, which has been around for 150 years. If it bleeds, it leads, right? And which means that if something bad happens, they're going to put it on the headline. And people are going to buy more papers, right? In this case, people are going to click, they're going to find it. And I don't want to do that. And maybe this is a failing proposition to look at it like that. But I believe in our audience. I believe in the idea that we can do this without digging into the drama bullshit space. And I think that we have an audience that's mature enough and respects us enough to not dig into that stuff. But like I said, I'm going to need your help. So need your help whenever we get there. So
somebody in the chat said we should invite Griffin Gaming on. I would like to invite him on, not to talk about any of this, but just because he's fun to talk to.
Blake says, it's no conscious that Fred Rogers called his audience his neighbors. We're all neighbors.
You know how funny? I was going to open the show today by singing "Won't You Be My Neighbor" when you cut to me, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's funny.
Okay.
Retro Jim
very
says,
random. Yeah, sorry.
Said you have an amazing podcast. I love the show. You don't need association with people like Phil to be successful, right? And look, and to be clear, I still would very much like to talk to Phil again, right? I would like to do a second show, and Phil would say, "Well, it's because that episode did more views than your other podcasts." Well, yeah, from a business perspective, that makes total sense. But I also want to do it because I think it'd be fascinating because we barely scratched the surface with him, right? Whatever. It's not going to happen. I don't ever expect it to happen. That's totally on him. And whatever. Like I said, it is what it is. We don't need to be associated with him. We don't need to be associated with Rich. We don't need to be associated with any drama channels, but that doesn't mean I don't want to ask them questions. And I think there's a big difference between having an interview and being associated with. There's a massive difference between the two. You can talk to somebody, and just because you talk to somebody doesn't mean that you align with them or associate with them or you're their best friends.
Yeah. The whole point of our podcast is we'll discuss games and entertainment with anybody. You know what I mean? As long as they ain't out killing people, you know, it doesn't matter their political views or their faith or whatever. They can come on here and talk about games with us. We can get along with anybody. That's the point.
Robin Noodles came in and says, with drama, at best, it ends with a Pyrrhic victory. I don't know what that means. Always truck onwards and upwards. Robin Noodles, I'm not smart enough to understand what that means.
I think
Pyrrhic?
it's Pyric.
Pyrrhic? Ramen, tell us what that means. Starscream came in with the $10 Rumble rant. Says, all of us struggle with our egos. We should strive to be egoless. Easier said than done, but it's absolutely doable. Be good does not necessarily mean trying to be right in a situation. Very nice, Starscream. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's all. That's kind of, that's all I wanted to talk about. Like I said, it's odd because, like I said, I'm not a very religious person, but I do very much appreciate the message that they were talking about. So Misachik says, Pyrrhic victory. He says, you won but lost so much along the way. Right? That's
like
what
Thanos. Oh,
indeed. There you go. And Starscream came back with,
that was a hell of a reference, Flab.
well, he
Like
won
Thanos.
Infinity, but he lost so much on the way.
True that. Yeah.
Starscream says, with the $10 over on Rumble, thank you very much. Says, in addition, you can still be friends and even best friends with people you fundamentally disagree with. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? And I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of truth in that, right? And we live in this really polarized place where it's like, I think that's the most fascinating thing about this whole thing is that we live in this age where everything is so polarized, and if you don't think a certain way, then you can't be associated with somebody for whatever reason, right? Whether it's the COVID shot, whether it's you voted for Biden, you voted for Trump, you thought this about that, whatever. Like, that's the dumbest shit ever. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to get past that or if we will ever get past that.
It's not even that, because it's about inaction now. You get blamed for your inaction. If you don't do something, you're blamed. You know what I'm saying? Now you're this because you didn't say this. That's not the same as attacking somebody. And you know what I mean? Like, we need to have some common sense about things. Just because somebody doesn't do something doesn't mean that they agree with somebody or that that's their opinion or whatever. Like, I can be friends with a religious person. That's okay.
Right. Dude came into the $1, says, sometimes you need to get these things off your chest before it boils and festers and it becomes a toxin within your own mind. If they attack you, they aren't worth the mental gymnastics for it. Right. I don't know. I mean, that's really all I wanted to talk about today. And Dan Rivers says, politics gives you more views. Right. And I that's the thing is, some people are, this is a right-wing gaming podcast. Like, nah, dude. Well, like I said, we'll talk to literally anybody. We've gone out of our way to talk with people who would never politically align with anything that we think. And honestly, it shouldn't matter what I think politically at all, right? At all. Like I said, I don't. It shouldn't. Goes back to, I don't care how you think as long as you don't tell me how I should think, right? It's really simple premise. Outside of dealing with kids. Like that's a pretty big line in the sand right there, you know?
Well, as long as you're not actively affecting somebody else, I think is my line. Like what you're saying or doing is not hurting somebody else, then you're good. Say whatever the hell you want.
Either way, there we go. That's all. I just wanted to end it on that because it was something that kind of affected me, or I thought a lot about this weekend. And you know, the love thy neighbor thing is such a simple premise, but it's very hard to live by. But I'm going to encourage you to do that. Just think about that. Next time you want to make a snide remark back to somebody or whatever, you know, just don't. There's no reason to, you know, except, you know, forgive them for making that. And that's not like me being religious at all, because I'm not. Just forgive them. It's okay. You know, forgive them for judging you and thinking a certain way about you. So
before we go, we have two things that I want to mention. We have two G2s that are still doing charities. One is for his girlfriend. She has a problem. I believe it's a heart issue or a lung issue. I can't remember, but she's out of work and she's getting treatment. So he's trying to raise money for that. And we still have our other G2 who is raising money for his wedding. He did get a flat tire, so that set him back. But if you guys feel like you got spare money to help out a G2, donate to them. The links will be in the Discord. I will post them there now.
all right. Let's go check out some of these memes that I've been put together. First from No Green Rocks. Let's check them out. No Green Rocks put this together, sent this our way. It says confirmed Craig is 86 years old now.
That's it. Do you ever say it?
Dag nabbit?
Yeah.
Dag nabbit, I'm not 85 years old. Oh man, he put the age on me and everything. And by the way, it's 85 years. Oh, I guess I'm not 85. I'm 86 years old. There you go. Thank you, No Green Rocks, for putting the age booster on me.
He's in his prime.
Here is Cloud. Craig tries out for the Mario voice actor auditions. Look at that. Me just in there ready to go with my full setup. Superman came back with this one. It's No Green Rocks. Says Craig seems to be a little salty he didn't get the Mario gig.
It's me, you bitch ass motherfucker.
Nice. And then we got this one coming in from Cloud. It says what Blast prefers when it comes to scary and gory stuff. You ever seen Little Nicky?
No. I'm watching Sabrina Teenage Witch. It's making me happy.
Oh my god. Let's go.
I've
You need
watched
to
it
see
since I was a kid.
You need to see Little Nicky. At the end, he goes, "Release the good." He's the son of the devil, and he learns it. It's good. This one from No Green Rock says, "Blabs is never having a watch party with Travis after he told her The Shining is a movie about diamonds."
Oh yeah.
Okay, nice. Thanks, No Green
I've never
Rocks.
seen The Shining. I don't plan on it.
You've never seen anything. It's crazy.
I live in a bubble.
Then we got this one from Cloud. Says, Craig has decided to become more wholesome.
Need to feed the fish right away. There. I have some friends who get very concerned when I forget the fish during our visits. Well, I just wanted you to know that even if I forget to feed them when we're together, I come back later and feed them, so they're always taken care of. It's good to know that fish and animals and children need to feed.
What do we need to know?
Yeah, it cut off.
What?
I gotta say, that's not even enough feed or food for the fish. It was like
Cloud.
Like how many fish there were in the tank, man? They're gonna starve.
What do we need to know?
You done fucked up, Cloud.
What do we need to know? What do we need to know about the fish and the food and the people?
I don't think
Cloud!
he said food, did he? You got Amber Heard on your mind.
Damn. All right. Let's get out of here. Okay, I need you guys to head over to the SideScrollers Plays channel, the new channel, youtube.com/at SideScrollers Plays. The link is in the description as well as down in the chat. When you go to the channel, it'll look like this. It's you'll see it, and there's no videos on it. You're like, why is there no videos on it? Well, it's because everything we do on this channel is built around live streaming. Now, we will have some videos on it, but I encourage you to go and hit the subscribe button up there, bam, and join us as we're moving past 3,100 subscribers. We're going to be closing in there. So you guys hit over there and join me over there. We'll be streaming, and we have Blabs Versus on Wednesday, Sonic, and then Friday we're coming back with the Retro Gaming Police, except I'm challenging Dan Bask.
Did you end up beating it, Dracula?
No.
Oh, no?
No, I
I'm
didn't.
sorry, you didn't? You know, I'm just having such a great day now. Okay.
Today I'll be live as I'm going to be playing for the first time ever. I played through the Lost Levels on the Super Nintendo on the NES, but I'm going to be playing the Lost Levels on the Switch here on the 16-bit version. So make sure you guys join me over there. I'm looking forward to get on that. We'll probably get going here probably around 1:30 or so. We'll see how that goes. With that said, appreciate everybody popping in. You guys have a great rest of your day. Travis, thank you very much for everything today. Appreciate that. Get on those time codes. There we go. Got them. Nice. We're ready to rock. I see him down there. Go follow Blabs over on Kick and on Twitter. And you can, of course, follow me here and over on X at Stuttering Craig. Guys, have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you guys later on. We'll see you guys shortly on the SideScrollers Plays channel. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.